Physics tutor, Mrs. Vijay Lakshmi Ramakrishnan. Today, I'm going to cover this chapter, electric fields and charges. Before that, let me quickly explain to you how to access our revision notes and the test. Go to the Classics homepage. This is our homepage. Classics, click on classics.com. This page opens, homepage opens. Go to practice. There are different packages here. Select Neat Premium. There you can see the revision notes. Covers physics, chemistry, and biology for all NEET, SRM, JEE, VIT, EEE, everything for all the entrance exams. We have for all the three subjects, physics, chemistry, and biology. We have actually summarized the concepts and the important formulae which you have to know for the on the exam point of view. Today I'm going to cover this chapter, electrostatics, electric fields and charges. You know, this is the first chapter in the 12th syllabus. It's a very, very important chapter. A very easy lesson though, and it has got a good weightage of 2 to 3%. Means you can expect at least 2 questions from this particular chapter. So we have clubbed the first and second chapter in the 12th syllabus. So electric charges and fields and electrostatic potential and capacitance. So together we have clubbed it as electrostatics, and the tests also are belong to both the lessons. So let us quickly go through the important formulae and the concepts for these 2 lessons. First, electric charges and fields. Electrostatic force in a medium is Fm is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 by R squared. It is always easier to remember whenever you compare this lesson with the lesson gravitation, which we studied in the 11th, right? So both the chapters are very much analogous to each other. So always you can compare both the lessons so that it will be easy for you to remember. So there again, it is the gravitational force where we learned F is equal to G m1 m2 by R squared. Here it is now going to be related to the charges. So here the constant is now going to be 1 by 4 epsilon 0. There G was the gravitational constant. Here we are taking it as 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 into Q1 Q2 by R squared, where Q1 and Q2 are the charges and R is the distance between them. Tau is equal to PE sine theta. So the magnitude of electric field is given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 by R squared, where Q1 Q2 are the charges and R is the distance between them. Coulomb's law of electrostatic force between 2 charges corresponds to Newton's law of gravitational force between the masses. So electrostatic forces are far more stronger than the gravitational force. Remember, we studied in the first lesson about the nuclear in different forces, and gravitational force is the weakest force and nuclear force is the strongest force. And when you come to electrostatic force, it is now going to be stronger than the gravitational force. SI unit for charge is 1 coulomb. Electrostatic force is vacuum is F0 is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 by R squared. So from this, you know that the force is now going to vary with medium. So for vacuum, it is now going to be 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 times Q1 Q2 by R squared. So if F0 is now going to be the force in vacuum and Fm is going to be the force in medium, then you can say O by Fm is equal to E by epsilon 0, which is equal to ER into epsilon R into epsilon 0 into K. Fo is equal to, or F0 with respect to origin, force with respect to origin is equal to F01 plus F02 plus F03 plus F04 and so on till F0n, where F is now going to be the force with respect to the origin, and F01 says it is now going to be the force with respect to origin and the first body. O2 means, or 02 means O origin with respect to the second body, second particle or second charge, you can say. So 0, 1 is 0 with respect to the first charge. 0, 2 means 0 with respect to the second charge. 0, 3 means 0 with respect to the third charge, and so on. So the resultant is now going to be the summation of algebraic sum of all these charges. Sigma is the surface charge density, which is given by delta Q by delta S. Lambda is the, where delta Q is the charge, rate of change of charge divided by the surface area. Delta S is now going to be the change in small change in the surface area. And lambda is a linear charge density, this is given by delta Q by delta L, where delta L is now going to be the change in the linear charge or line or the measure along the length. U is the potential energy, which is given by minus PE cos theta 2 minus cos theta 1, where P is the momentum, E is the electric field, and theta is now going to be the angle between them. Dipole moment, P, magnitude of P vector is equal to Q times 2A, where 2A is the length between the two poles and Q is the charge. So these are the important formulae you'll have to learn with respect to the first lesson. Now coming to the second lesson, that is the electrostatic potential and capacitance. Phi E. Phi is the electric flux. Phi E stands for electric flux. You know, electric flux is nothing but the strength of the field. Strength of the field can be calculated by the number of lines of force passing through that particular area. So that is now going to be, so phi E is equal to closed integral E vector dot ds vector, where E vector is the electric force and ds is the surface area. So which is given by Q by epsilon 0, where Q is the total charge inside the closed surface. Electric flux over an area in an electric field represents the total number of electric field lines crossing this area. It is represented by phi E. Don't confuse with electric field and electric flux. Electric flux is the electric field lines. So it is now going to be the electric flux is the strength of the field. According to Gauss's theorem in electrostatics, the normal electric flow or the total normal electric flux over a closed volume surface is 1 by epsilon 0 times the total charge Q contained inside the field, where QE is equal to closed integral E vector dot ds vector. So by Gauss's theorem, you can understand this is now going to be Q by or 1 by epsilon 0 times the total charge. Electric intensity due to a thin infinite plane sheet of charge E is equal to sigma by 2 epsilon 0. If the sheet is thick, then you can take it as sigma by epsilon 0. E is equal to sigma by epsilon 0. Note the difference. This is now going to be due to the thin infinite plane sheet, and this is now going to be thick sheet. Okay. Then capacity of a cylindrical capacitor C is given by 2 pi epsilon 0 L divided by log of RB by RA base E, where RB is the radius of the radius with respect to the point B and radius with respect to point A, where RB is greater than RA, then this is going to be the value. This is now going to be the, you can also make it as a ring cylindrical capacitor, where RB is now going to be the outer surface and RA is now going to be the inner surface. Again, look into the series combination of capacitor. You can again relate it to the resistance which we studied in the 10th grade in electricity. So the combination of resistors, same way here also, the capacitors can be combined in series or parallel. So with respect to resistances, when they are connected in series, we know that it is now going to be simply the algebraic sum of all the resistors. But in the case of capacitors, in the case when they are combined in series, then the equivalent capacitance is given by 1 by Cs is equal to the reciprocal of all the. So 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2 plus 1 by C3. So this is now going to be for, so remember it is now going to be the reciprocal of the individual capacitors. Reciprocal of the individual. You can just sum it up. take the reciprocal and sum it up, and then find the value of the equivalent resistance. Whereas when it is going to be in a parallel combination, then Cp is equal to C1 plus C2 plus C3 and so on to Cn. Now, the energy stored by capacitor E is given by, U is given by, energy U is now going to be half QV. Also, you know, V is equal to Q by C. So when you substitute in the place of V as Q by C, then it becomes half Q squared by C. Or you can also write it as Q is equal to CV, so half CV squared. So analyze the problem, look into the data given, make sure of the data, and then apply the formula. You have three formula now. One is half QV, the other one is half Q squared by C, the third one is half CV squared. All represent the energy. So look into the data and then be sure of which formula you're going to apply. Next, coming to in series as well as parallel combination capacitors, the total energy stored is the sum of the energies stored in the individual capacitors. Common potential B is equal to Q1 plus Q2 by C1 plus C2, where Q1 and Q2 are the charges and C1 and C2 are the capacitance, are their capacitance. So C1 that can be written as C1 V1 plus C2 V2 by C1 plus C2. So when for two capacitances, the common potential is given by C1 V1 plus C2 V2 by C1 plus C2. Capacity of a parallel plate capacitor with a conducting slab of thickness T. So suppose if it is now going to be having a thickness T, then C is equal to, suppose you have a conducting slab of thickness T, then it is given by C is equal to epsilon 0 A by D minus T. Capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor with a dielectric slab. Dielectric is an insulating material, you all know that. It can be either mica, oil or any medium, even paper, of thickness T in between the plates. C is equal to epsilon 0 A divided by D minus T times 1 minus 1 by K. So remember, so if it is now going to be just the conducting slab, you can apply the previous one. And if there is now going to be a dielectric slab, you can apply this one. Loss of change or loss of energy on sharing charges is given by U1 minus U2 is equal to C1 C2 into V1 minus V2 the whole squared by 2 C1 plus C2. Potential difference at work done is VB minus VA, which is equal to, you know, that is nothing but the work done. So WAB by Q0. Potential at a point due to a single charge B is given by B is equal to Q by 4 pi epsilon 0 into R. Potential at a point due to a group of charges, then you simply add, it's going to be the summation of the charges. So you can take 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 as a common factor, then it is now going to be summation of Qi by Ri, where R tends to N and I tends to R, I tends to 1. Potential gradient E is given by minus dV by dr. Potential gradient E is given by minus dV by dr. Make note of this because we'll be using this again in the second lesson, the current electricity also, the third lesson, current electricity also. Electrostatic potential energy of 2 point charges U is equal to Q1, Q2 by 4 pi epsilon 0 R12. So electrostatic potential energy of a 2 point charges U is equal to Q1, Q2 by 4 pi epsilon 0 R12, where R is the distance between the first and the second charges. And summation of Qj, Qk by Rjk. So it is now going to take off, if you consider all the pairs. So like how we took 1 and 2 as a pair here, in J and K stands for the other pairs, all the other pairs. Now phi E is equal to the closed integral E vector dot ds vector, which is equal to Es cos theta. Electric intensity due to a line charge is given by E is equal to lambda by 4 pi epsilon 0 R, where lambda is the linear charge density and R is the distance. Electric intensity between two thin infinite plane sheets carrying equal and opposite charges, charge densities is given by E is equal to sigma by epsilon 0, where sigma is the surface charge density. Electric intensity at a point on the surface or outside a charged spherical shell is given by E is equal to Q by 4 pi epsilon 0 R squared, where R is equal to capital R on the surface. Electric intensity at a point inside a charged solid non-conducting surface is given by E is equal to R rho by 3E, where R is the distance, rho is the density of the solid, and E is the electric charge. Capacity of a parallel plate capacitor with air as dielectric is given by C is equal to epsilon 0 A by D. Capacity of a parallel plate with insulating medium as dielectric, then C is equal to K times epsilon 0 A by D, where A is the area between the two plates and D is the distance between them. Capacity of a spherical capacitor is given by C is equal to 4 pi epsilon 0 epsilon R RAB RA into RB divided by RB minus RA, where RB is greater than RA. So remember, this is now going to be a spherical capacitor. So you consider as it is not going to be a, you take it as the radius between, radius is now going to be the inner radius and the outer radius into consideration. That is why we have RA and RB, where RA is going to be the radius of the inner ring and RB is going to be the outer ring, radius of the outer ring. So Q is equal to C times V. This is the important. So these are the important formula which you have to learn. You have to memorize, better to memorize, because, and you'll have to be very careful while using the, the formula. What formula to be used? Don't get confused. Learn again and again. Go through the neat concepts from the revision notes, and then what all, look into the problem carefully, analyze it, and then make sure which formula to use. So we have actually summarized everything, so you can make use of this. It's going to be pretty easy. Now let us go to the tests. You have tests for all the three subjects: physics, chemistry, biology, and also the NEET full tests. Now to take the physics test, click on the physics. We have chapter-wise tests for all the chapters, right from the first chapter to the last one. So the blue bubble says that you have not taken the test yet. The green one says you have already attempted it, but even then you can take it any number of times. If you're not satisfied with the results, maybe you're not thorough with the concepts, so you can make yourself thorough with the concepts, go through it once again, and then take the test any number of times. And red is, R is the red one, which is the random test, and yellow says if you have the incomplete test, okay, incomplete. Now let's go to the electrostatics. I'll take the first test. Click on the take test. I understand, go to the test. Now look into the first question. If three equal charges are placed on three corners of square and force between them Q1 and Q2 is F2, and the force between Q1 and Q2 is F3, find F3 by F2. All right, let's quickly solve this. First of all, let me draw the diagram. So let the charge be Q here, Q2 here, Q3 here, and Q4 here. So the charge is now between the diagonal Q1, Q2. So the three charges are now going to be along this direction as given by the arrow. Now let the side of the square be A. It is now given that Q1 is equal to Q2 is equal to Q3, right? So now you know F is equal to K times Q1, Q2 by R square. Now the charge is due to the, since all the charges are given, Q1, Q2, Q1 is equal to Q2 is equal to Q3. Now you know radius, the distance is now going to be a root 2. That is, this is now going to be the diagonal. Diagonal of a square, you know, is a root 2. So r is equal to a root 2. Okay. So now F3 is now going to be, the force F3 is given by k q square divided by root 2 a root 2 the whole square. R squared is now going to be a root 2. That is going to be along the diagonal. So it is now going to be given by this, which is equal to k q squared by 2a squared. Let us keep this as 1. Next, let us calculate F2 now. F2 is now going to be equal to k q squared divided by along the side, right? So it is now going to be, see, along the side, it is now going to be, so it is going to be a squared. So let us take this as 2. Now what is F3 divided by F2, which is nothing but k q squared by 2a squared divided by k q squared by a squared, which is nothing but 1 by 2. So it is now going to be in the ratio 1:2. Let's see which option is correct. 1:2, D option is correct. Click that, go to the next. Radii of two spheres forming a spherical condenser are 0.3 and 0.4 meters. If dielectric constant of medium is 4 and the medium is completely filled in between, find the capacity of the condenser. All right. Now it is given A is equal to 0.4 and B is equal to 0.3 and K is equal to 4. Epsilon 0 is, 8.85 into 10 to the power of minus 12. So having known all the values, it's going to be very simple. So analyze the sum. So you have to use the formula. C is equal to 4 pi epsilon 0 into KAB divided by A minus B. Having known all the formula, having known all the values, epsilon 0 is 8.85 into 10 to the power of minus 12 multiplied by K is 4 into 0.4 into 0.3 divided by 0.4 minus 0.3. Now simplify that. You can see that the value of C is now going to be 5.34 into 10 to the power of minus 10 farads. Let's see which option is correct. 5.34. Option A is correct. Click that, go to the next. A condenser of 100 microfarad is charged to 50 volts. What is its energy in joules? So we all know that energy stored in a capacitor is now given by half CV squared. So given C is equal to 100 microfarads and V is given as 50 volts. So we can use the formula E is equal to half CV squared, which is equal to half into 100 into 50 times 50, which is equal to, when you simplify, you can see that it is now going to be 0.125 joules. So 0.125 joules, option A is correct. Click that, go to the next. In capacitance, C is equal, the two plates are 5 centimeters apart. A potential of 10 volts is applied between them. What is the electric field between the plates? All right. So B is given as 10 volts and D is 5 centimeters. Now, E is equal to V by D, which is equal to 10 divided by 5 into 10 to the power of minus 2 centimeters, or which is equal to, or we have now converted this to 5 into 10 to the power of 2 meters. Okay. So when you calculate this, that gives you 200 Newton. Let's see which option is correct. 200. Yes, B is correct. Click that. Go to the next. If the space between two plates of a capacitor is filled with liquid of dielectric constant E, the capacitance of the capacitor increases by a factor of K, increases by a factor of K squared, decreases by a factor of K squared, and decreases by a factor of K. All right. Now we know C is equal to epsilon 0 A by D when it is now going to be, when air is now going to be between them. Suppose there is going to be a dielectric, then it is given by C dash is equal to K epsilon 0 A by D. Obviously, you can see this is nothing but K times C0, right? Let me put C0. Okay. So K times 0, that means it is increasing. So the capacitance of the capacitor increases by a factor of K. So increases by a factor of K. Option A is correct. Solve that, go to the next. Angle between lines of force and equipotential is what? Angle between the lines of force and equipotential. You know, equipotential surface is perpendicular to the line of force. So it should be 90 degrees. So that should be the correct option. Save that, go to the next. N identical condensers are joined in series and are charged to potential V. Now they are separated and then joined in parallel. First, initially they were in series and then they are connected in parallel. Total energy and potential difference of the combination will be what? Okay. So, by law of conservation of energy, you all know that B series is equal to, or U series, the energy when they are connected in series is going to be equal to the energy when they are connected in parallel. Or in other words, I can put it as half. You know, when they are connected in series, it is now going to be C by N. The equivalent capacitance is going to be C by N, V squared. Let me put it as V squared. So that is now going to be half. Parallel is now going to be N times C into V squared. Let me put it as F. So now you know, since they are now going to be equal, you can see that V by N is equal to, or small v by N is equal to capital V. So the energy is same. So the potential difference is V by N. The potential difference is now going to be V by N. Let's see which option is correct, V by N. And the potential energy remains the same and the potential difference is V by N. C option is correct. Total flux coming out of a unit positive charge put in air. Total electric flux coming out of the unit positive charge put in air is epsilon 0 to the power of minus 1, 4 pi epsilon 0 or 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. Let's see which option is correct. Now see, by Gauss's law, you know, phi is equal to Q by epsilon 0, which is equal to, since it's a unit charge, it is now going to be 1 by epsilon 0. Or in the other case, you can, in this case, you can put it as phi is equal to epsilon 0 to the power of minus 1. Yeah, B option is correct. Click that, go to the next. A force F acts between two charges kept 1 centimeter apart in air. If permittivity of air and dielectric constant of water are epsilon 0 and K respectively, find the force acting both when both atoms are placed in water. Again, I'll repeat. A force F acts between two charges kept 1 centimeter apart. So that means R is now going to be 1 centimeter. The permittivity of air and dielectric constant of water are epsilon 0 and K respectively. Find the force acting when both atoms are placed in water. That's an interesting question. Now let us take the force in air to be F. That is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 into Q1, Q2 by R square. For force in air, let me put it as F. Fw, when it is placed in water, let us put it as Fw. That is now going to be 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0, K epsilon 0, because K is now going to be the permittivity here says. So that is now going to be Q1, Q2 by R square. Let us keep that as C. Or K times R square, right? The distance is now going to be the same. Or F A by FW. When you divide both, everything gets cancelled. It's now going to be 1 by K, or which is equal to, or from this we get FW is equal to F by K, FA by K. Oh, sorry. FW is equal to K times F. Am I right? So I am dividing these two. So everything will get cancelled. So this will go, I'm sorry children, this is now going to be 1 by K times. Yeah. This will be K. All right. Yeah. Or this implies FW is equal to FA by K. Yeah. So FA by K. So option A, F by K. Yeah. FA is now, he's mentioned that it is going to be F here. So we took it as F. So the original force is now going to be F. So we can take that F by K. Save that, go to the next. Potential of any point inside a charged hollow sphere is 0, decreases with distance from center, is a constant, increases with distance from center. All right. Potential of any point inside a charged hollow sphere. You know, potential at any point inside a charged hollow sphere is always a constant. Okay, it's always a constant. So save that, go to the next. In a medium of dielectric constant K, the electric field is E vector. If epsilon 0 is the permittivity of free space, the electric displacement vector is what? All right, let's solve this. Now, electric displacement vector is now given by D vector is equal to epsilon times E, and epsilon is equal to epsilon 0 into K. Or instead of that, you can substitute. So D vector is now going to be equal to K epsilon 0 E vector. When you apply the vector quantities, it is now going to be K epsilon 0. So K times epsilon 0 into E vector. Yeah, B option is correct. Click that, go to the next. Two metal balls of same radii are charged to 5 and minus 25 units of electricity. They are brought in contact with each other and then again separated to original distance. Ratio of magnitude of force between the two balls after and before contact is what? Let's solve that. So the radii are 5 and minus 25 units is given. So let's solve that. Now let us say after charging, you know, Q1 is equal to Q2. All right. So that is equal to, so now we can put it as 5 plus minus 25 divided by 2, which is equal to minus 20 by 2, which is equal to minus 10. After charging, now let me put the force as after. Force after charging is now going to be equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 into minus 10 into minus 10 divided by 2. What was the charge? This is now going to be before. So F after by F before. F before is now going to be 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 into 5 into minus 25 by 2. Now divide both. F after by F before. Obviously everything will get cancelled. You'll be left only with minus 10 times minus 10 divided by 5 times minus 25, which is equal to 4 by 5. Since it's a ratio, we need not bother about the negative sign. So it is now going to be 4:5 ratio. Let's see which option is correct. 4:5 is the correct option. Pick that. Go to the 13th one. All the capacitors shown in the circuit are identical. So in both all the 6 capacitors are identical, he says. Each can withstand maximum 100 volts between its terminals. The maximum voltage that can be applied safely between A and B is what? What can be the maximum voltage that can be safely applied between the volts? Now look into this, children. So equivalent volts. Now they are in parallel. Since they are in parallel, it is now going to be 1 plus 1 plus 1, 2. So this is now the equivalent capacitance will be 3 volts. Again, this is also now going to be in parallel. So that is also going to be 3. The capacitance is 3 farads. So he says it is now going to be 100, right? Between the points A and B, it is now going to be 100. So this is now going to be 100 and this is now going to be 100. So it's going to be 100 plus 100, which is equal to 200 volts. So the correct option should be 200 volts. A is the correct one. What are the other options? No, it's 200 is going to be the correct option. Save that, go to the next. If a capacitor is changed from 0 to 20 volts using constant current, variation in energy U of the capacitor with time t will be what? Variation in energy U of the capacitor with time t will be what? Look into the graph carefully. This is a linear graph. B and C are going to be exponential graphs, and this is another graph. Now, this is not, the D is now going to be a non-linear one, but whereas B and C shows, B shows an exponential increase and C shows an exponential decrease. So, which can be the correct option? At any instant, you know, let us, okay. Now, you know, Q is equal to Q0 times 1 minus E raised to the power of minus T by RC. Same way, V is equal to V0 into 1 minus E to the power of minus T by RC. Can you remember this formula? Now, you know, V is equal to half, sorry, U is equal to half CV squared. So, now substitute, that gives you half Q0 V squared into 1 minus E to the power of minus T by RC. Sorry, children, this should be plus. For potential, it is 1 minus V0 into 1 minus E to the power of T by RC. For Q, it is Q is equal to Q0 into 1 minus E to the power of minus T by RC. So, I can put this as the whole square. All right. This is now going to be equal to the whole square. Now, we can see that it is now going to be, or you can see that U is now going to vary exponentially with time. So, varies in the sense it is increasing. So, you can say it is increasing exponentially with time. So, B should be the correct option. Save that. The last question. Electric potential at any point V is equal to minus 10x plus 6y plus root of 60z. Then the magnitude of electric field is what? So, V is given as minus 10x plus 6y plus root of 60z. Now, you know, Ex, that is the electric field along the x-axis, is given by minus dV by dx. So, when we, so I have told you this is now going to be partial fractions. So, this is now going to be when you, in the case of, partial fractions, partial differentiation. So, when you differentiate partially means you're going to differentiate only with respect to x, where y and z are constant. So, it is now going to be simply 10. Okay, this is now going to be 10. Minus of minus 10 will give you a plus 10. And then Ey. Now, y is now going to be the variable and the others are x and y are going to be a constant. So, that is nothing but minus dv by dy, which is equal to minus 6. And Ez is equal to, again, minus dv by dz, which is equal to, you can see, there's minus root over 60. So, the magnitude of E is now going to be, electric field is given by root of Ex squared plus EY squared plus EZ squared, which is equal to root of 100. 10 squared is 100 plus 36 plus root of 60, the whole squared is 60. It is 136 plus 60 is going to be 6. So that is equal to root over 136 plus 60 is going to give you 196, which is equal to 14. Square root of 196 is 14. Let's see which option is correct. 14. Option C is correct. Save that. So we have completed the test. End the test. Say yes. The results are loading. It says 2 answers are incorrect. Let's see which is correct. So 0.125 volts. Now it says my answer was 1.25. So the correct answer is 0.15 volts. Let's see the option. I mean the explanation part. You can scroll down and see the explanation part. C is equal to 100 VUF and B is equal to 50 V. So E is equal to half CV squared, which is equal to half into 100 into 10 to the power of minus 6 into 50 squared, which is equal to 0.125 joules. Right? Now close that. Let's see, the 14th option says it's correct. So the capacitor is changed from 0 to, let's see which option is correct. He says it is now Q is equal to Q0 into e to the power of minus t by RC. So V is equal to V0 into 1 minus e to the power of t to t by RC, or V is equal to, U is equal to half CV squared. So half into Q, C is equal to QV, right? So Q0 V squared into 1 minus e to the power of minus t by RC the whole square. Having others are now going to be a constant, so you can see that it is now going to be exponentially, it varies with time. So he says the option A is correct. No, it cannot be. It should be the exponential part. So B should be the correct option. Close that. So having known how to access the correct answers and get the explanations, you can as a good this, right? So green one says your answers are correct, and the red one says you have the incorrect answers. You can as well go and access yourself for the correct explanation. So that gives you the percentage of your correct answers as well. So if you're not thorough with you're not satisfied with the results, you can as well go to the revision notes, make yourself thorough with all the concepts once again, and then take the test again until otherwise you're going to be satisfied with the results, final results. You can take any number of times. Likewise, you can go to the test, all the tests several times, and make yourself thorough with the concepts. So this is really going to be very, very useful for you. So this revision notes comes free along with the package you are going to purchase. So spread it among your friends also. So this is really going to be very useful for you to score very good marks in your tests. So with this, I have ended the chapter. Tomorrow I'll be going with current electricity. If you have any questions, you can ask me.